what's it like living as a Native American, creating Native influenced and inspired art, and living and working here in the current climate of West Michigan and Grand Rapids through your eyes?
It's been good. I got to tell you, it's a story. When I first came down, people used to try to save me all the time.
Like evangelical, like Christians, they wanted to save
They'd
you.
come and shake my hand and, do you know Jesus? And I'd be like, what? Say, yeah, I grew up in church. I was Methodist at one time. But, just stuff like that I thought was kind of crazy.
Right. It's a very Dutch Christian
Yeah.
Reformed kind of world.
People used to stare at me a lot back then. And, some people would say ignorant things because they don't know. And I used to get kind of mad, but then I realized they just don't know. They're, like you said, the predominantly white culture is, they don't see nothing wrong with some of the things they say, because it's like, oh, well, we don't mean no harm by it, but it's like, hey.
Watch yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of it, and also just, I try to be curious and try to, explore and meet people out of my normal thing. I think everybody, doesn't matter who you are, you're kind of routinized into a schedule of your work pattern and school pattern. If you choose to live in a particular part of the city, those are the, you really have to be intentional about going out and broadening your relationship base of friends or whatever it might be. And I think that's sort of is a cycle that creates that ignorance.
Like we were talking earlier, and I try to be understanding. I know a lot of my people in particular get mad, and a lot of people of color do, but I don't like to carry all that with me. I have a hard time explaining it, like the white privilege. Sometimes I have talks with people, and it's like my easiest thing is if you could walk in the shoes of a brown person for like a month, you'll see a difference. It's so subtle, like the predominant culture around you is all stacked to one way of thinking, one way of living, and they don't see it.
Right.
But I just roll with it. I do the best that I can, and I actually use like my native culture as like my work.
Right.
To like.
Well, that's what makes you unique, right? And I think a lot of whether it's whatever collector's base is, I mean, they know that what they're getting is
there's a story behind it.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
Who you are as a person, how you create your work, where you come from, where your people come from, the heritage is all woven into that. So you do have, if you're just, I don't want to say just, but if you're just some white dude carving, like it's, that person would have their own story as well. But there is this other sort of thing that I think you've integrated into your work and your business really well, is that you've honored the craft, for one. It's your whole life. It's what you do. You've also honored every part of your heritage through that expression. So one, you're just incredibly talented with your hands as just a human person that can create stuff out of stone. Is amazing. And then you you intertwine all your inspiration and your culture. It's really fascinating work. And that's why I think you're so successful, is because of the authenticity that you bring to just carving and creating and honoring everything. You carry that like responsibility with you to speak through the rock, right?
Yep.
And is that sometimes overwhelming, or is it just something that you're just, it's easy to express for you?
Yeah, it is. It's just something I do. It's like my everyday life. And That's what I do.
This Full Exposure podcast episode has been made possible through the support of Metro Health, University of Michigan Health, and Dr. Peter Hahn, who believe that creativity and the arts are essential to a rich, healthy, and fulfilling life.